She's right. We should stick together.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Hi everyone, it's Grayson and this is Grayson Talks Everything. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're not new and are returning, welcome back. Do be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also follow my Instagram to get the latest updates on when videos of mine are coming out, and to also just admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post on Instagram as well. Some of that should be appearing on your screen right now. Alright, and the link to my Instagram is always in my description and under all of my videos. And if you just want to know my Instagram tag right now so you can follow me immediately, that should be showing up on the screen right now. Alright, let's get into it today. We are going to be, I'm going to be reviewing and breaking down What If Episode 5 with spoilers, and this is the Marvel Zombies episode. And again, you'll hear it again in the video, in the main breakdown part, but I was so lucky that I was able to read the actual Marvel Zombies comic earlier this year. It's actually really good. I do suggest you pick it up if you like The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman, who wrote the original Walking Dead comics, actually wrote Marvel Zombies, so you know you're gonna get some good zombie content out of that as well. But yeah, let's get into it. Sorry for this being so late. I know this episode 5 came out as of right now last week. So yeah, my school schedule is just insane. So do expect more later videos. And Malignant, I watched Malignant a couple nights ago, as you would know if you follow my Instagram already. So a review of that should be coming out semi-soon, maybe by the end of this week. But yeah, let's get into it. So, I know the newest episode of What If is very divisive and it has a lot of fans split for a numerous amount of reasons, specifically because of the jokes, which I actually kind of found were funny, but that's just my opinion. And then people were upset about how they treated some of the characters and how they were out of character, and some people were still not satisfied with how Spider-Man was handled, but then again, most Spider-Man fans are never satisfied, so I try not to just go through that. And then I like this episode a lot, but I'll get to that later. But I just gotta say, actually I forgot what I was gonna say. Wait, yes, I do know what I was gonna say. So I was just saying that I liked it, but I thought a little too prematurely about it, to say the least, because I just like zombie stuff, which I do, which really made me love this episode. But I really just gotta say, I'm just really loving Marvel's What If so far. Again, mainly because I love anthology shows and stories like one of my favorites, The Twilight Zone, and American Horror Story. It has some off seasons, but when it's good, American Horror Story is really good. And I really loved the Marvel Zombies episode, which was very satisfying for me due to me having read the original comic a couple weeks ago. And again, the Marvel Zombies comics itself was also phenomenal. I was so happy to be able to read it. And again, I also just love zombie apocalypse movies, and they're so fun and they're so weird, and I did have to stop watching them a little bit during the pandemic because the zombie apocalypse stuff was becoming a little too real for my liking, but it was whatever. And the twist in this episode was also very insane, and it also somehow connected to Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is my guilty pleasure MCU movie. I love that movie so much, so I very much appreciated it. And yeah, don't hate on the Marvel Zombies episode. It was good. I swear, it's just good.
If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I honestly feel bad for you. I cannot explain it. I don't have the vocabulary to sit here and explain. Either you get the vibe or you don't get the vibe.
So let's break it all down. The series' teaser set up touching emotional moments, rapid-fire jokes, and yes, that looming watcher. But only one moment captured fans' excitement above all else: Marvel Zombies. It wasn't clear how, but the Avengers would have to conquer flesh-eating foes or join their ranks themselves. What may not have been obvious, however, is that much of What If Zombies, that's what the episode is called, is, however fantastical, was ripped right out of the comics. So here's everything you need to know about the new episode. What If was based on a comic series, obviously. But the zombies actually belong to a different series altogether. Whereas most stories of zombie apocalypses focus on the action of a few surviving non-infected characters, Marvel Zombies made their titular Undead Avengers its main characters, as they came to terms with their own inhumanity. In the comics, Bruce Banner was turned into a zombie and lost the ability to ever become the Hulk again, given that being undead means no more emotions, including anger. This plot dimension was not preserved in What If, with Bruce Banner supplying the audience viewpoint as a new, human visitor to this zombie-ravaged world. However, plenty of Marvel Zombies touches were carried over into the MCU. Firstly, Scott Lang existing as only a head in a jar, Futurama style, was inspired by Janet Van Dyne's fate in the comics. She was zombified, living on a head floating in a jar, connected to a cybernetic body. The MCU version of the zombies also showcases a different strength specific to What If. The character design throughout the series has always been a reflection of the live-action films more than their comics adaptations. So this episode, and their cartoonishly zombified versions of the Avengers, was an artistic challenge unlike any that Marvel has ever faced before. Thankfully, Marvel's artistic team was up to the task, and I really like the art style like I did with all the other episodes. I think the animation here is beautiful. Another huge comic thread that makes for one of the episode's most heartbreaking reveals, Vision, left with no other choice, is keeping T'Challa captive as a food source for his undead wife, the ultra-powerful Scarlet Witch. In the comics, Hank Pym keeps T'Challa in the same condition, as a food source for himself. But when Janet stumbles upon the secret snack-hoarding king of Wakanda, she gets upset. Hank reacts reasonably, biting her head off, which prompts T'Challa to bring said head along as a specimen when he encounters a handful of survivors. Similarly, in the episode, Vision uses Scott Lang's zombified head to test out a cure. Yet, another strength of this episode was the heartbreaking voice performance of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, one of the few survivors of the zombie apocalypse. When Peter Parker grieves his loved ones, T'Challa tells him, "In my culture, death is not the end. They are still with us as long as we do not forget them." It's obvious that none of us are going to forget Boseman anytime soon, and it was poetic to hear it from him in this way. While What If wasn't able to replicate the comic series' ability to make the zombies sympathetic, that's ultimately for the best in my opinion. We're used to seeing the Avengers at peak pathos, and this episode gave us a rare glimpse at what happens when they go berserk. Ironically, in What If Zombies, Bruce for once isn't able to control his own transformation into the raging monster. My, how the tables have turned. Of all the romances featured in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point, few have resonated as deeply as that of Wanda Maximoff and Vision. Simultaneously the oddest and most authentic relationship to ever exist in the MCU at this point, it was a primary focus of WandaVision earlier this year by dedicating as much time to Wanda and Vision's connection as it did the Disney Plus series gradually emerged as one of the most moving stories Marvel has ever told. And in a surprising turn of events, What If Episode 5 just made the relationship between Wanda and Vision and WandaVision as a series even more powerful. What If's fifth installment might be its strangest yet. Picking up roughly at the time of Avengers Infinity War, the episode follows a ragtag group of MCU heroes fighting to survive a world overcome by a deadly virus. One that's already turned many of Earth's mightiest heroes into a flesh-eating zombie. It is truly insane half-hour of television, with plenty of shocking moments. However, few of the episode's twists are quite as unexpected or dark as the reveal that Vision has been secretly protecting an undead version of Wanda Maximoff, containing her at Camp Lehigh, and feeding her the flesh of an unsuspecting human survivor. It's an undeniably horrifying twist, but one that adds an interesting new layer to not only Wanda and Vision's MCU relationship as a whole, but especially their story in WandaVision. As a series, WandaVision was all about exploring and depicting Wanda's grief over Vision's death in Infinity War, as well as her ability to let him go. That latter aspect of Wanda's grief served as a key source of conflict between her and Vision, with the latter character confronting and abandoning Wanda in frustration about being trapped inside her Westview hex along with an entire town of unwilling citizens, almost like slaves. He was right to be frustrated and horrified by Wanda's actions, especially as they involved controlling everyone in Westview. That said, what if episode 5 adds a new layer to the duo's relationship? The animated episode proves that had Vision lost Wanda and not the other way around, he would have gone to similarly unethical methods to keep her in his life. As a result, What If doesn't so much rob Vision of his moral high ground in WandaVision, as it further establishes how deep their pair's love goes. The two Disney Plus series essentially proved that, as one character faces losing the other, either would go to questionable lengths to avoid facing their grief, before ultimately redeeming themselves in attempting to rectify their mistakes, as Wanda does in WandaVision and Vision does in What If Episode 5. What If is doing plenty for the future of the MCU, introducing alternate timelines, characters, and variants that could all come back to play in future live-action films and TV shows, specifically Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But with its 5th episode, What If retroactively depends and intensifies the relationship between Wanda Maximoff and Vision, and in doing so, the animated series adds an interesting and tragic new layer to their romance, one that may help us see certain episodes of the WandaVision in a new light. So there you have it. That is my spoiler review and breakdown of What If Episode 5, the zombie episode. So what did you think? What did you think of this episode? What did you think of the video, my video itself? Share all your thoughts and comments down below. And again, don't forget to subscribe and like and share and all that fun stuff you can do on YouTube. And again, follow my Instagram to never miss any updates on when videos of mine are coming out. And again, to admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post on Instagram as well. Yeah. Bye, everyone.